last one day, almost 20 hours, I was thinking that I cannot recover from this shock. But just now, last half hour after seeing all of you, I feel that I'm beginning to recover. It was such a shock. I just met him in the hospital 18 days ago in DIMS, and he was just going after one day to surgery. And yes, the doctor said 30% risk was there, but he said yes, he would like to go ahead, because without the surgery and with all the complications, the gallbladder stones, and it will be otherwise 70% more risk living with all those conditions. I mean, he was so sportive taking the surgery. Then the surgery was successful. We were so happy. And now, last 2 days has been so critical, and then finally, we lost him. That is because for 10 years, he was treated so badly. He was not getting the right treatment. One after another, his organs were beginning to fail. The kidney, the liver, and because he was not getting the right treatment. And for many months, he was alone, and then they put 2 other prisoners in the Anda cell, the lonely cell. I mean, you know all the details. I don't have to recount that. But I probably I'm the oldest here. I didn't think he will beat me in this. He was way ahead as a human rights worker, scholar, leader. He was way ahead as a humanist. His demeanor, the human demeanor, I mean, all of you, several of you who have worked with him, I would remember his smile, his sportiveness, what was his attitude to life. That despite all the struggles we have to wage, we have to live the life and face life with confidence, with joy. And so in all those things, we knew he was way ahead of us. Human rights work, scholarship. Some of his works have been published, many are not published. I mean, the kind of command he had in the political discourse on nationalism, in English writing, the history of literature, it was amazing. And as a poet, you already know, you have some glimpses. So, it is indeed the state which has to blame for this death. We have lost Sai, the humanist, the human rights leader, the revolutionary intellectual, the great teacher. As a popular teacher, his colleagues and students would tell me, goodness, unimaginable how popular he was. But I didn't believe once again another dear friend in the human rights movement would beat me. He only 57. And many years ago it was Balagopal again. So what are our tasks? I think already you have heard and you will hear people identifying them. I will say 3 things. One very concrete thing, and 2 long-term programs. The concrete thing is campaign against UAPA. I think you have focused on that. I am very glad. I think we have to focus on that. How UAPA has been an instrument of repression of movements, democratic activists, dissidents, in the name of all kinds of things. So UAPA has to go. I think that is our first concrete campaign demand. The two long-term programs, I think, because we all know, even now and forever, the Sai legacy will be a powerful movement, a powerful force, a powerful legacy. Therefore, and the Sai legacy will continue to be a threat to fascism, to a fascist state, and to all fascist forces. Therefore, two programmatic long-term plans are very important. A united anti-fascist campaign on all fronts, because fascism is operating in culture, in education, not only in the various political institutions, culture, education and economy. And therefore, and we have here people who have written and worked on all these fronts, and in the audience I see so many. So a multi-pronged campaign against fascism will be our first long-term tribute, and it has to be united. All anti-fascist forces, left democratic forces, all anti-fascist forces, secular, democratic and left forces, have to be united on cultural front, educational front, workers front, peasant front, Adivasi front, Dalit front, all fronts. A united anti-fascist campaign. And the writers, the teachers, the researchers, the students, through what they learn, what they do research on, how they do it, and all that, because NEP has shrunk our democratic space as never before. They want to produce robots. I don't want to speak too long. That's one long-term program. The other one is a very concrete program in the universities and colleges and schools. And RSS is 100 years old, and you have heard about all the speeches, including the RSS chief speech yesterday, calling upon the Hindus to be united. Now, the reaction to that is not some textbook, secular, progressive answer. The answer to that is people's democratic traditions and cultures, and what movements today in the field and in concrete life give to one another as their living democratic culture. And that has to be reflected in education. Living democratic traditions of science, culture, traditions, and so that kind of tradition has to be reflected in education. So education has to be the school of democracy, the school of anti-fascism, the school of liberation, inheriting the Bhagat Singh, Mahatma Gandhi, Ambedkar, the Bhaga movement, Telangana movement, all the people's movement, the liberation, the anti-colonial liberation struggle strategy which has been compromised, abandoned essentially, particularly in the neoliberal authoritarian fascist period. So today, when a genocide is going on in Gaza and imperialist wars are taking place in the world, threatening all parts of the world and all democratic forces in the world. And when repression has multiplied in the last several years over the Adivasis, over worker struggles, peasants, dissidents, all kinds of dissidents and protesters, at that time, I think educational institutions as the school of democracy, school of humanism, and school of liberation, inheriting the best of our freedom struggle. I think every student, every teacher, every karmachari has to take that in all schools, colleges and universities and research institutes, have to take that as a real tribute to our comrade Saibaba. Inkilab Jindabad.